All right, welcome everyone. I think we can go ahead and get started. All right, it's Friday. Woo! Woo! We made it. Last day of the conference. Just to make sure you're in the right session, this is Create Powerful Reports in Microsoft PPM, also known as Project Online. It's pretty exciting. It's Friday. We saved the best for last. We're all here. We survived the camping trip last night into the great outdoors of downtown Atlanta. Awesome. My name is Mike McLean. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Alan Hosha. More about us in a minute. But for those of you just joining us, we actually did a very similar presentation last year at Microsoft Ignite in Chicago. And lots of the demos are still largely applicable. So we put some information here on this slide. Feel free to look at that later. Unfortunately, Andrew, our third musketeer, couldn't join us this year. He got hung up in some work commitments. So Andrew, this one's for you, buddy, if you're listening. We'll try to make you proud. So feel free to take a look at this session later if you're interested. But before we begin, I want to let everyone know this is a very scientifically run presentation.
We take it very serious.
Okay? And there's a very specific method that we use to gather your feedback. So your feedback is incorporated into our continuous improvement program. Every year, we keep the good stuff, we drop the bad stuff,
Yeah,
right?
we kind of drop Andrew this year. So.
Right. Okay, so he's not with us. Now, to facilitate this process, we need one volunteer. And this person has to be able to count from 1 to 10. Okay, so let's see. Not a lot of people can count to 10. Okay. Anybody? We need one volunteer.
Yeah,
it's a super easy job.
Hands.
Peter? Okay. Now, sorry, can you remind me your name? Because this has to be a name that both Alan and I can pronounce. I think I heard your name earlier. But what was it again, sir?
Peter.
Peter. Okay. Can you pronounce Peter?
Peter.
Peter. Check. Okay. We can pronounce Peter.
Approved.
So Peter is our Peterometer. Okay? So we're going to be showing you, the audience, a series of demos today. And you're going to rate these demos and give us feedback on how you like these features, okay? And Peter is going to rate these, your feedback, on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, Peter? Got it? Everybody with me so far? All right, cool. So before we get started,
let's make a test.
Let's calibrate our new Peterometer, okay? So I want everyone to pretend like I just showed you the absolute worst feature that you've ever seen in your life. Okay? This is the button that when you push it, it deletes all of your projects that you've created. It wipes out all the information, all of your sales contacts that you've built up over years and years. And then it sends an email to your boss and your coworkers telling them how stupid you are. Okay? How would you react if I showed you that feature?
Ooh.
Okay, guys, I know it's the last day of the conference. We're all really tired.
Let's
try that again. How would you react if I showed you that feature?
Right.
Okay, cool. Some R's. Peter? No, that's a 1. That's a 1, okay?
Very generous volunteer.
Thank you.
We like it.
Thank you for grading us on a curve. I like you, Peter. That's a 1. All right, so now let's pretend that I showed you the absolute best feature you've ever seen from Microsoft. This is a button that automatically schedules all of your projects. It reads all of the email that you've been neglecting in your inbox for the past 3 months. And then when you push it, it sends out your status report at 4:59 p.m. on a Friday so you can go out and drink margaritas at happy hour. How would you react if I showed you this feature? Woohoo! All right, Peter, that's a 10. Yeah, okay. All right. One last thing, you do have to stay for the entire length of the session.
Okay. You cannot leave it.
All right, great. So now I'll hand it over to Alan, your newest and bestest friend, to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We know it's a tough day. It's Friday, ready to go home. My name is Alan Rocha, and I'm today a manager and principal business consultant at Proactive AS. So we are based in Denmark. I have wrote 3 books. 2 of them is actually directly connected to the subject of today. It's Project 2013 and 2016. It's actually 600 pages about the product. Took me 9 months. I think like a baby for me because it takes a lot of time and effort to make it. I'm a Microsoft project MVP for the last 7 years, which I'm very proud of, and it's actually based on two of my blogs because I like to contribute and share a lot of information. Feel free to join and follow us in our blogs. One is in English, another one is in Portuguese. Thank you all.
Great. And like I said, my name is Mike McLean. This is my introductory slide. I have decidedly less pictures of books and software. I tried to find something that represents the true struggle of managing projects today. Anybody felt like this? Like you're just fighting that bar overhead? Yes, a lot of nods in the audience. So I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft. I work on the Microsoft project team. I've been at Microsoft for 11 and a half years, as my kids would say. And in that time, I actually started in Microsoft Dynamics. So I've always worked in the enterprise space. I think this is an area where Microsoft solutions can really provide a lot of value. I've always been impressed by the staying power of the solutions that I see in customers. And after working in Dynamics, I actually came over to Office, and I helped ship the initial release of SharePoint Online, probably one of the most exciting projects I've worked on. And then took that knowledge, I helped ship Project Online in Office 365, where we took our on-premises project server product, shipped it in the cloud, and then for the past couple of years, I've worked on shipping Microsoft Planner. Has anyone heard of Microsoft Planner this week? Yes, great. Yeah. So it's our new service with Office 365 groups to help manage your teamwork that's happening. So I've got my contact information here. Feel free to reach out if you have questions. I'm always interested in staying in touch with the community. And then I have a link to our project blog here as well. All right, so just to set the stage a little bit, we know that there are a lot of different offerings out there. We have customers that are on-premises and Project Server. How many customers right now are either using Project Server on-premises or have used it in the past? Good, OK, wow, more than half of the audience, great. How many people are using Project Online already? Great, OK, about a third of the audience. So today, we're going to show a series of demos that are largely focused on Project Online. However, a lot of these technologies can be used to extract data from Project Online and bring it on-premises. We have a lot of customers that try to do reporting on-prem. We also have customers that have on-premises Project Server that like to extract that data and then use it in other business intelligence tools. So as you see the demos, just kind of think about where your data is and where it might plug in to some of these products. Now, we know that there are a lot of common challenges today in business intelligence. And just to highlight a few of these, we know that our customers spend a lot of time managing the setup of their BI systems. Sometimes it can get very difficult to run these internally and make sure that we're meeting the SLAs of our internal customers in our organization. We also know that there's a lot of complexity sometimes trying to connect this on-premises data to the cloud and vice versa, including additional SaaS solutions like Salesforce or SurveyMonkey or things like that. Third, we know that customers are often concerned about the security and privacy of their data. So where is this data stored? Is it locked down? Which data center is it hosted in? And if I move this in there, is it actually safe or not? Fourth, we know that customers are concerned with the cost and the time to integrate and extend their solutions. And probably the most common request I got in the past few years was that customers wanted instant refresh of their data from a variety of sources. Now, this is a scenario that almost everybody wants to do at least once in their life, where they refresh their report 10 minutes before they jump into the status meeting or the boardroom, and they don't have 24 hours to schedule a refresh of the report. And lastly, I actually talked to quite a few customers at the booth this week that are interested in rolling out a BI solution that can be easily consumed by their end users. They're tired of having to wait for these reports to be created. And it's not because they want to put their IT team out of a job. The IT team has a huge backlog of work that they're trying to complete. So if they can offload some of this report creation, just makes everyone's lives easier. So today we're going to talk a lot about Power BI and a lot of different technologies available from Microsoft. And just to highlight a few of these benefits, Power BI provides the ability to create these pre-built dashboards that are already connected to a lot of services, including Project Online. We have the ability to perform real-time dashboard updates in Power BI, where the visualizations refresh as soon as the data is updated. We have the ability to create these secure connections using the credentials that you're logged in with to Office 365. We have a nice intuitive data exploration interface now, including natural language query, where you can type words just like how you're talking today. And it just provides a very familiar experience across the Microsoft products. And lastly, pretty fast deployment and configuration process, because a lot of this is available online. So today we're actually going to provide a series of demos. Everything in this slide that has a computer is actually a demo. So we're
Lots
going to
of
run
demos.
Yeah, lots of demos. So we're going to run pretty
Lots
swiftly.
of stress.
So just kind of, for Alan. And so just sit back, relax. The session's recorded, so you can always watch this again later, and then we'll get going. So let's start by talking about Project Online. So a couple years ago, when we shipped Project Online, we had a pretty significant challenge. We took this on-premises product, and then we shipped it in the cloud. And on-premises, customers always had direct access to their databases, right? How many people have written SQL queries before to try to extract data? Yes, yep. And I was asked earlier, do we provide direct connection or not? And that was not going to be available anymore because the database was hosted in Office 365. So we had to figure out a way to expose this data. We talked to a lot of teams across Microsoft and in the industry, and everything led us to this new technology called OData. This allowed us to expose an endpoint in Office 365 where you could extract your data, pull it into Excel, and start building reports. So last year, we actually talked about this OData endpoint. Here's kind of an example. When you access that endpoint, you get this XML-like feed that has a list of tables that are available in Project Online. And it's great. We actually walked through last year how to select particular fields to make this run faster. So instead of extracting all of the data from your tenant, you can actually improve performance quite a bit.
So what you're saying is that I need to remember all these filters, these conditions, the entire syntax to actually optimize my reports and extraction of data?
That was the old way. That was the old way, okay? So you don't actually have to learn the syntax anymore, thanks to technologies like Power Query in Excel, all right? So now Power Query is actually built in to Microsoft Excel. Power Query used to be an add-in. It's actually the entry point for making connections to your data sources. It allows you to pull this data into Excel, combine it, create relationships, and then you can publish that data set for other users to consume. You can use Excel 2000 to 2013, and then when you upload this workbook, other users can actually consume that same data set. Pretty cool. This allows you to get access to that data pretty quickly and leverage that data connection that was created by one individual.
Yeah, the Power BI publisher for Excel, it's something pretty new that we are going to show here today. It's still an add-in that you need to install afterwards, so it's not part of the 2016 version of Excel, but soon will be actually built in as well. And this is actually making the integration between your Excel file with Power BI much easier and smooth. We're going to show a very nice demo here today and how to use it and how you can actually take advantage of this add-in.
Great. So let's start by just taking a look at how you connect to Project Online data in Power Query. All right. So here I have my Project Online tenant that's in Office 365, right? And first I'll show you how to find the endpoint for that OData service. You just append _API/project data to wherever Project Online exists. So your site collection is here. You just append the rest of the endpoint to get to your data. So I can actually just copy this. And then if I flip over to Excel, we'll open up Microsoft Excel into a blank sheet. So now I can actually click Data, New Query, from other sources, from OData data feed. And then this is actually going to load up a dialog where I can paste in the endpoint to my Project Online OData service. So in the previous browser window, we saw that long list of complicated syntax that had all of my table names. Well, Power Query actually understands all of that natively. So here I have the full list of tables on the left-hand side. For example, if I click Issues, I actually see the full set of issues that would be retrieved in my data set. I can see who created it. I can see the date it was created, even the description around the discussion. Previously, when I connected to Project Online, I didn't see my data until after I finished building my report and tested it by running it. Here, I actually get a nice preview of the type of data I'm going to retrieve in my query. So here, I'm going to select just a couple of tables. I'll actually select multiple items, do engagements, time phase data sets, and then I'll do projects. OK, great. So I've got these two. Now I'm going to click Edit, and we'll load this into Excel. All right, so now I'm in Excel. And previously, if I had to filter down my columns, I had to learn that syntax, right? Here, I can actually select this, do Shift arrow over. Let's say I want to go over to engagement name. Now I can right-click, and I can select Remove Other Columns. And it automatically writes that filter query for me behind the scenes. So just like that, I dropped it out.
Yeah.
Nice. Peter, how does that rate on the Peterometer? 8,
Whoa,
awesome.
we are
Good,
going to
starting
12
strong.
today.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going. All right, so now let's say I say, oops, I made a mistake. Power Query actually tracks the history for everything I've done to my data set. So I can just back that out if I need to undo something. But let's say, OK, actually, I really need these columns, so I'm going to do that step again. And then if I trim that down and I'm like, oh, wait, there's actually a couple of columns that I want to include, I can click the gear. I can select Proposed Work, Committed Work. I can click OK. And now I can go over to my projects. And let's say I want Project ID, Enterprise, project type, a couple of these. I'm going to remove some other columns. And let's bring in country here.
Oh, you can also use the search box.
OK. Let's show that. Because I have a lot of fields, right?
Yes.
And I might be scrolling forever here. It's kind of a pain point. So here I can start typing country, bring that in. Thanks, Alan. And now I've added country to my data set. So I have that there. So this is great. So now I've got 2 different tables. I can close and load this to Excel. We're going to bring this in. So now I've actually brought this data into Excel. So now I can start interacting with this. I can start building reports with it. But what happens if Alan wants to build a report with my data set, right? I spent a bunch of time like trimming down my columns and customizing it, but it's just on my machine. So with Power BI, I can actually right-click on an entity over here, and I can click Send to Data Catalog. So here I'm going to sign in. Let me sign in to Power BI.
Signing in.
Everybody always holds their breath during the sign-in process. And now I can type a name. Let's call this Microsoft Ignite 2016 Awesome Data Set.
But before you share, what happens if I don't want to share this with my entire organization? I want to share only with specific people, or maybe a group of profiles or different.
Well, that's a pretty common problem, right? Because we don't want to expose it to everyone. Here, I can click the Sharing tab, and I can actually say share it with a specific people and groups of people, and it'll actually start looking up the users in my Azure Active Directory, and I can secure this to only a few individuals if I want. Pretty cool. So now, last step, I'm just going to send this up to my data catalog, and now this is available for anyone in my company. How does this rate on the Peterometer?
Yeah. Woohoo!
Great. So now Alan's going to walk us through the next step.
Yep. So one of the things I would like to show here right now is, even though, for example, we have 2 tables here, but they are not actually showing data from these 2 tables at the same time. These 2 tables can actually be merged together. So if you're talking about in the old times, you probably need to go to your SQL Server, make an inner join. Today we are going to do all this. We are going to combine data from 2 different tables in one unique table by just using Power Query. So look how easy it is for me. So first thing I would like to do is I will double-click here. By double-clicking, I will open the Power Query for editing. So now what I would like to do is, I lost my mouse, it's here. So I have some columns in my project table that I would like to actually expose in my engagements table. So how can I do that? First of all, I need to make sure that the column is provided here. So I want to show all engagements based on the country. So when I go to my engagements table, I have here in the top, merge queries. Look how easy it is for you to do that. So when you merge queries, I'm able to select my original table where I'm going to merge this data. I select a key column, and then I can select which table I'm bringing the data from. So look at this. By just clicking on project ID, Power Query automatically told me how many columns and rows are actually matching. I can do many different ways to merge this data. And of course, by just clicking here, what is going to happen is Power Query is now providing me a new column that can be expanded. Look how cool is this. By doing this, I would like to just combine the country and maybe not showing the column as a original column as a prefix. When I click OK, now as magic, I see different data coming from a different table and combine it in one only table. How this rank in the Peterometer?
What is that, Peter? Nice.
Yeah,
all right.
we are going to 15 now. So really cool. So after I do that, what I'm going to close this spot, and all this data is going to be loaded in one place. And of course, if I would like to update my data set, I can actually open my data catalog and update this to my new queries. So going back to our slide.
Great.
Oh, it's you.
Thanks, Alan.
Yep. Thank
All right. So we'll talk a little bit more about resource engagements, because this is a pretty common Project Online scenario. We've talked about how to get access to the data in Project Online. Now we'll talk specifically about a scenario in Project Online and how you could report against it. Over the past 10 years, we've had a pretty strong decade of innovations. Of course, we initially started with a deeper integration into SharePoint, delivering a nice consolidated PPM solution by incorporating the portfolio server. And then a few years ago, we shipped Project Online in the cloud in Office 365, probably the most exciting time in the history of the product. Then, after we shipped in Office 365, it really accelerated the rate at which we could deliver enhancements in the service. We started by improving the getting started experience. Then we actually provided the ability to extract OData into SQL Server integration services, so you could use your data warehouse on premises. And then about a year ago, we announced the ability to actually create resource engagements. So this is an enhancement on the resource management scenario. And just to describe how this scenario flows, I think scheduling a project is not as straightforward as just saying, oh, I'm going to put Alan in my project schedule to code a new iOS app for 5 weeks. There's a good chance that there is a resource manager who is responsible for a group of individuals. And so in this scenario, they actually have to decide who they want to allocate to a particular project. Now, Agile teams function a little bit differently, because sometimes they will just grab work off the backlog as soon as they're available. But for these more standard processes, you have a resource manager who then approves who's going to work on a project. So the project manager now in Project Online can send a request to the resource manager to say, I need a developer for 5 weeks. Then the resource manager can review this request and approve who they want to staff on the project. So it's definitely a more formal process, which is great, and it's facilitated by Project Online. The resource managers understand the capacity of their team. For example, I talked to a customer who had a set of individuals who are all desktop technicians that build machines, and they know who's available to jump on what. Within the tool, this is a quick snapshot of the dialogue that's used to create this resource engagement, and then it's approved, and then they can actually staff somebody on the project. Project Online, out of the box, includes a heat map that actually shows who might be overloaded and who's not. So these types of visualizations are already available in the product, and if you haven't seen it yet, you can go to the Resource Center to check it out. And then, it's very important just to know that you're not overloading your individuals, and you're actually balancing their availability. And so when this negotiation happens, you can track in the tool whether somebody's been committed or not based on the resources that have been proposed. So now, Alan's going to walk us through a detailed report on resource engagements.
So basically, Project Online already provides you some of the reports to analyze this demand against the utilization and all this information about resource engagements. I'm going to show you how you can actually expand and extend this using your own reports. So if I go back to our demo environment, I'm going to create a completely blank Excel file and actually close this one. So do not save. So this is a completely blank Excel file, and what I'm going to do is actually, I don't need to create that same data set before, because you remember that we actually saved in the data catalog, and I actually have permission to get this data again and consume the same data set that was provided by Mike. So when I go to my query, new query, I can see actually here my data catalog queries. When I go to this page, what is actually Excel doing is going to Power BI and bringing all the queries that are shared with my account. And look at this. You can even see actually with what we showed in the last session 1 year ago.
Still there.
It's
wow.
still there. Wow. But what we are going to use today is actually we are going to use this Microsoft Ignite 2016 resource engagements. I can even analyze a preview of my data. I can see that I have all the information I need here. How easy it is for me to actually consume and use this in my reports. I can just right-click, load to, and here I can decide how I would like to load this data to my table, to my Excel file. I only would like to create a connection and add this to my data model, which will provide me all the information I need. Look what is happening now. Workbook query is actually pulling this data down. I already downloaded 961 rows, and now I can start building my report. How can I easily build my report? Look at this. If I just select any one of these cells, and I go for Insert, Pivot Table, and OK, I can already see that I have all the data that someone created this data set available for me. So I'm going to make a very quick one. So let's take all the resources and proposed work. And then I'm going to create a new pivot table here and do the same thing. Let me close this. I would like to know now to see country and proposed work. Let's make this a little bit more graphical. So I'm going to change the layout for the Ignite colors. I would like to select some of these and add a conditional formatting, very quick. Look at this. It's actually a very good trick. And if you look, when you apply a conditional formatting inside the pivot table, you can actually define how this will be applied to the entire pivot table or new items. So actually, I want to apply this for all resource names and proposed work. And an example, if I take 2 columns or 2 rows here, and I do the same thing, so now I'm applying this. But look, it's not applied to all rows. I can just come here and say apply to all rows, and automatically we actually apply to everyone.
Wow, wow. So let's stop for a sec. How does that rate on the Peterometer, pulling in data from the data catalog, conditional formatting in a pivot table from Project Online?
Yeah, we could improve that.
8 again? Okay, all right.
So
We're not
do you
losing
like
ground.
this layout? Do you think it's good enough, or should we actually?
It's okay. I mean, a lot of us have kind of seen pivot tables before, like, to be honest. Like, can you make it a little bit better?
A little bit better? Let's do a little bit better then. So what I'm going to do now is just make a little bit tweak. So let me remove the grand totals, and look at this. Now, actually, Excel or all the Office family allow you to insert add-ins. So I have just right here in my toolbar or my ribbon all the add-ins, and even can download partners add-ins that has been created for Microsoft partners. What I'm going to add is the people graph, and I'm going to pull a little bit to the corner here. I'm going to actually now, click here. I would like to select my data, and let me take my table. I need to go a little bit down and create. Look at this. Like magic, now I have some people graph already showing all the data from my pivot table. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go and insert a Bing Maps. So by adding a map, I just need to resize a little bit.
Well, while Alan's doing this, let's see. How do we rate the people graph in Excel? Pretty cool. Wow.
Thank you.
That's a 10? That's a 10. You got a 10, Alan.
So now, I'm not stopping here. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to select all this table and just click here and look what happened. So let me close this. I don't need any more tables. And automatically, I'm showing this data in a map inside my Excel live. Really, really cool. I can actually do a few more tweaks here. I can actually make some layout difference. So let me make this in a different color. Let's insert a picture here. That will be, where is my, here, icons. Let's take this guy, put here in the top. Remove some guidelines and headings, and maybe add some filters. So I'm going to have the country and my project name, and I have those 2 filters now. I would like to make some colors, and like this, but like here. Remember, always when you make and add a slicer, you need to connect to all pivot tables in your Excel spreadsheet, so connected to everywhere. And if you just make a filter now, all these apps will actually be automatically updated. Woo! Really cool, right? But it's not done yet. The good part is coming now. Look at this. What happened if I actually, this is just by me, I'm the only person watching and seeing this data. I want to share this. And I remember that we are connected to Power BI. A little bit of water. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open my Power BI, and it's here. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to my workspace. And in my workspace, I have some different dashboards, but I have this dashboard down here. Look what I can do. I can go to my Excel file, select this range of cells, and then I have this add-in called Power BI. Down here, you can actually see that you are connected to your Power BI account, and I can pin this directly to Power BI, and even more. So let me actually do this again and pin this guy to Power BI. And even better, I can actually pin my apps to Power BI. So if I actually select the entire range of this app, and pin to Power BI. Okay, if I go back to Power BI, look at this, automatically showing inside my Power BI. How this can be even cooler? If I go back and I remove my filters, so now we have different data. Look at this, there is a pin manager. In the pin manager, Power BI add-in is actually telling you that all the data here has had some changes, so I can update this directly in my Power BI. When I go back, it's there. Woo! Wow, this is super cool. This is cool. This is the future. Thank you. That was my initial demo. We have more coming.
What do you say, Peter? Broke the scale. All right. Awesome. That might be a record, I think. All right. Well, if that wasn't enough, we've got quite a few more demos coming. I want to mention that from Project Online, we knew how important it was to have some visualizations out of the box, right? So what we just showed was how to create these reports in Excel, publish them up, share them around. Just takes a tiny bit of work. But from Project Online, we actually just released a brand new app that's available for you to install on top of your Project Online tenant. It connects directly to your Project Online data, and it provides you a nice portfolio dashboard. So let's walk through that and take a look at how it looks. Let's switch over here. OK, great. So if I come out to Project Online, I'll show you. If I navigate out to store.office.com, here I just typed in portfolio, search for this. It's actually the first result in the list. So with SharePoint and Office 365, what's great is that there's a whole host of apps that are shipped by Microsoft and by our partners. And you can come out to the store, and you can actually install these onto your tenant. And special deal for you guys today, it's free. OK? So this is a free app that you can install onto your Office 365 Project Online tenant. So here, I've got my Project Online homepage. And I installed the app. I actually created a quick link on the left-hand side of my navigation. And so I'll open this into a new tab. And we'll give this a sec to load. It's loading this year's data. And then now I've got a nice, beautiful set of visualizations that are specific to my projects. Here, this is the highest level of the portfolio dashboard. So I see a nice plot of all of my projects against the project costs and their baseline. And then over on the right-hand side, I see a nice pie chart that shows a breakout of the project costs by project type. So here, this will break it down for my infrastructure projects, my marketing projects, mergers and acquisitions. And then I see these nice callouts that actually show me how much these projects are costing. If I scroll down, I have these key performance indicators around schedule, work, and cost. And then I have these nice highlights that show me if we're over or under. So let me look at my data here. And I think I've got a nice project called biothermal ear heating system. I'm not exactly sure what that is. And here, if I click that project, I actually get a drill down view of all the data within that project. So this is available right here. I can see a nice graph that shows my, all of my tasks that are slipping across the project, tasks that have missed their deadlines, tasks that are showing work in the past. So obviously, for this project, I actually need to update some of my tasks to make things current. And over here, I see a balance of my tasks that are assigned to different resources. So I have a pretty large set of unassigned tasks that I probably need to distribute. And then down here at the bottom, I have a set of different tabs I can navigate through to look at cost overruns in the project. I think this one has an issue that's actually pulled in here that has a link back to the issue in SharePoint. I have the same thing for risk and all this other data. And the last view I'll show is this beautiful executive summary where I have these tiles that actually call out things like the date the project started, the date it's scheduled to finish, whether or not we're going to have a variance and actually hit that date, and then the remaining costs on the project. How does that rate on the Peterometer?
That was pretty cool. For free, works on any environment. Really nice.
Good, good. OK, all right, we're building back up now. But right now, I'm just showing this on the browser, right?
Yes.
What do people normally use? Mobile devices nowadays. I've actually been told that the only time executives have to actually check their dashboards is when they're carrying their iPad on the way to the bathroom. Yeah. so Alan, why don't we show you how we see that?
Let me just see here. If we did not plan for this, but let's start the camera. And then if we make like this, hope everybody can see it. And look at this. In my iPad, I have exactly the same dashboard. And even more cooler, I can even navigate through this, and I can drill down exactly with the same information. So if I go here to my biothermal, and then it's actually Now it's loading the information. I can go to my, oops, biothermal again, where it is you. And if I go to my executive dashboard, all the same dashboard just saw directly in your hands for free in your iPad or any device. Really, really nice.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Awesome. Native iPad app. How does that rate, Peter?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right.
That's reasonable. Okay, so if we go back here, we already have shown the iPad app. And what we're going to show right now, I'm very tense to present this because it's still in a preview for Microsoft, but we are going to present you Power Apps. So basically, who in the audience know what Power Apps is?
Good.
Well, a lot of people know
Yeah.
what Power Apps are.
More than a third of the room.
Really, really nice. And Power Apps is actually enabling organizations to actually deploy mobile devices, mobile software, and any kind of app very, very easily without any line of code based on your organizational data. That means I can connect to my SharePoint information, I can connect to my project online data, and build an app in 5 seconds or maybe 5 minutes. And we are going to build an app today here on stage, or at least we will try to build an app on stage. And Power Apps is actually really changing the market because before we used to say that only big companies will have the, how can I say, the resources to finance building an app for their entire data. Today, by using Power Apps that is also part of Office 365, you can actually create your Power Apps using your browser. We are going to build an app now using our browser. So let's start for the demo. So Power Apps, so what I'm going to do, I will just go back here, and I will open my Power Apps window. So to go to Power Apps, you just need to access web.powerapps.com, and you can see you are connected to the Office 365 account. And what is really cool here is I can see all my apps that is already available for me. I can actually connect to flows that will actually automate some of these processes. But what we are going to do now, we are going to create a new app. So new app, first of all, Power Apps also provide you a desktop application. That means you can have even more. I don't know if actually there is any difference between the desktop and the web browser, but I know that you can actually do most of the things in the browser and the desktop. We are going to use the web browser today. So creating a new Power App using the web browser, and I'm going to copy here. By the way, I would like to actually tell you that this is a project online environment, but we also can manage an ideation and innovation using a very simple way.
Yeah, this is a pretty common scenario. I think that a lot of organizations try to funnel ideas into their company or their business, and the Innovation Hub just provides a way for individuals to suggest or propose ideas for potential projects that they might want executed within the company. And then the Innovation Hub actually provides project managers and portfolio managers the ability to prioritize these and start triaging them, and they can populate more detailed descriptions of the idea, maybe associate a potential cost to the organization, potential benefit, and then even assign a potential risk if they take on this project. So it provides companies a way to actually listen and take those ideas in, and then once they actually decide that they want to move an idea into an official project, they can promote that and they can pull that into Project Online.
What happens if I'm actually going to work? I'm not even at my office yet, but I have an idea, and I don't want to lose this idea. How can I provide my users to actually fill out, update information, create new ideas?
Yeah.
Power Apps.
Power Apps.
So we are going to do now and create a Power App that will actually bring the Product Innovation Hub just right in your hands. So first of all, I just need to copy this URL and go back to my Power App that I just created. And if you look here, we have a different setup. So you can start by a layout, like a SharePoint layout, and there are many different other connections that you can create. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to start a SharePoint layout. I already have connected to my tenant. So what I need to do is just paste this URL here, which is connecting to my PWA, which is my project web app. And look at this. I have my Product Innovation Hub. With one click, and this is the moment, because what is happening behind the scenes now is Office 365 Power Apps is building a mobile app for me on stage. It's building all the infrastructure necessary for me to actually provide this data. And look at this. It was faster than my test yesterday. Looked really nice. I'm so happy. This is the end. This is Friday. So let's go. Look at this. What we're going to do now is, Yeah, we didn't ask for the pyrometer, but
know,
this
yeah,
was,
that's great.
in my pyrometer was 11. So we are going now for, what we are going to do is just make this look a little bit more beautiful. So I'm going to change the layout. I'm going to make this a little bit more cool. Let me actually get a little bit more zoom here. But look how cool it is. I have all the fields that are in my product innovation list in my PWA, but I can, with one click, look this in your right side, you can see all the available fields. So what I would like to show here is actually the title of my idea, and I would like to just resize this a little bit. So I'm going to resize like this. Oops, more. And I don't want to show the title again, correct? What I would like to show here is maybe the benefit of this idea. But I would like to make this number look in currency because we work with dollars. Can I change that? Look how Power Apps is smart and easy. What I'm going to do is actually, if you know how to use Excel formulas, you can do most of the formulas available in Power Apps. So I'm going to do like a text, and then the value that I would like to show, and how I would like to have this being formatted. So I would like to use dollars. Oops, I have to do like this. My keyboard is in Danish, so that's why I'm trying to figure out where are the things. So now I'm going to make 2 and 3, close and close. And should work. And if I go back here, that was afraid. And yes! Woo! Sorry for the excitement, but it's still a preview tool, okay? So it's working.
And it's an English keyboard for a Danish guy.
Yeah, I use a Danish keyboard, so that's why I'm handling it. But did you see how easy it is for me to actually make just a formatting? We are going to do more than this. So look at this right now. Remember that we talked about the risk. So the risk, I would like to actually present the risk as a color here for my users. Power Apps actually allow you to select a different setup of properties. So I'm going to choose the color, and I'm going to remove the color at this moment, and I'm going to just say, like I do in Excel, if my risk value equals to high, then, and you can see in the top that Power Apps is even telling me the IntelliSense and tell what I have to do. If there is high, I would like to have a red color. Otherwise, I would like to have just a white color. And by doing this, look how easy it is. I can easily identify which one of my ideas has high risk. What I'm going to do now is actually make one last thing. Stop for the video.
Yeah, how do you guys like that? Conditional
Yeah,
formatting
conditional
in
formatting,
a Power
just your
App
hands.
built in the browser.
Yeah. What I'm going to
Yeah. All right,
Woohoo!
off the scale.
What I'm going to do very easily now is because we are not stopping here. I can actually have my users interacting with this data. So what I'm going to do is every time I click on the helmet, I would like to open the details of this information. So in the Action tab, I have a navigation action. And here I can just select and paste it. Every time I click on the helmet, we'll open the details of my idea. And look how cool it is. But Alan, does it make sense for me to have the benefits in the top? I'd like to have the title in the top. How easy and how difficult is this to do this? Look, I just need to drag and drop to the top. But Alan, I don't see the helmet picture here. What I have to do? You can actually go to your right side and click on the picture. And look at that. Woo! This is super cool. High five. Yes, it's working.
What is that, Peter?
Really, really
We gotta
nice,
bump
right?
the scale up, I think. Yeah.
It's really nice. And of course, if you go for the edit page, so if you just double click here, I have now how to edit this information, just to show how flexible it is. For example, the description. I would like to have the description as a multi-line field, so I just need to scroll a little bit down, and instead of a single line, I will say that this is multi-line, and I can just drag and drop here a little bit down. More, better experience for my users, and done. What I need to do now, actually, if you are in the front page, you can now test your app. So this app is actually already working. So if I click here, I can see this information, I can edit this, and all this is already working for me. Alan, how can I actually publish this app? Oh my God, it's so easy. You click on File, and you save this app. You just need to give a name to this app and save this information. And how this, should I save? Okay, let's save it then.
Let's see if it runs.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now
We
is,
like to live dangerously.
it's a little bit dangerous, but I'm going to save so. So I'm going to create like a my first app on this stage. I would like to allow access to my entire organization, and I want to save this app. Now it's saving this to your cloud. Power Apps is now providing this to me. If I go now to my iPhone, I need to open the camera again. Camera is on, and look at this. I have my app just right in my hands. And it's really cool. I don't know if you can see the colors, but you can see that you have the red, the green. So if I actually edit one of these items, so I'm now looking at the helmet, I would like to edit this and change from high. I would like the risk of this helmet is not completely high. I would like to say that it's actually low. So I just need to type the low here. You see in the bottom and save it. And this is pushing data back to my project online environment.
Woo!
Wow! This is super cool.
Man.
We just made a mobile app on stage, first time in life.
That is the first Power Apps demo I've ever seen with Projects Online. So this is a momentous occasion for all of you in the audience. Great. Thanks so much, Alan. All right, we are perfectly on schedule. So now we will continue and talk a little bit more about Power BI. So we talked about Excel, we talked about Power Query, we talked about SharePoint apps. So let's close out with Power BI. Here, we know that there's a lot of opportunity out there in the way that customers can optimize how data is retrieved and how they can streamline things that are done in their business. There's actually a figure that said there's about $1.6 trillion that can be saved just by streamlining the access to information. And how can this be done? Through providing the ability to access diverse types of data, by providing new analytics, new visualizations that are a little bit more efficient in communicating the types of data and the status that are being reported from our ERP systems and from Project Online. And lastly, by providing access to more people in our organization. So by putting that data in additional people's hands, we can streamline how they get access to it and actually make decisions. So Power BI tries to improve this by providing this single pane of glass where you have access to these live dashboards and interactive reports. This allows companies to monitor what's happening inside their organization, track things real time by streaming data from their source systems, and then drill down to underlying reports and actually connect the data and the different visualizations that are being built. And lastly, like we already showed a little bit today, you can pin some of these visualizations onto your dashboard. So if there's a report that you like and a chart that's been created, it's no longer stuck in some other Excel file that some other user generated. You can actually extract that and add it to your custom dashboard to see anytime. Now, additionally, Power BI really tries to facilitate the ability to stay connected from any device. So whether you're using a Windows app or a Windows phone or an iOS device or something on Android, there's actually native apps available on all of these platforms. So you can pull up the Power BI app, and then you can see these dashboards, and you can see these visualizations. It allows you to receive alerts based on your data, so you can subscribe to changes. And then you can also share this with colleagues and collaborate. We showed a little bit about how to save that data set up and then build reports on top of the data catalog so you can actually collaborate with other users inside your organization. So just to go a little bit deeper, Power BI includes these components, actually several different components. So it's not just one service or not just one tool. You start with the data sources that you're connecting to. So there's a variety of different SaaS solutions out there. Like I mentioned earlier, there's Google Analytics, GitHub, Salesforce, all the Microsoft Dynamics lines, things like that. There's also on-premises data you can connect to using things like the Power BI Gateway, so that can help extract data from on-premises. Then there are content packs that you can build, and these can actually be distributed within your organization. So you can build content packs that are specific to your line of business. And then, of course, there's a variety of Azure services you can connect to for analytics, machine learning, things like that. And then Excel files are the basis for a lot of these data connections and different visualizations. Lastly, there's Power BI Desktop, which is actually a desktop experience that can be used to build and enhance these dashboards even further. So basically, you can connect to these different types of data sources, create these visualizations, and then publish them up to the Power BI service where they can be accessed across a variety of devices. If you look at the various layers of the architecture, of course you have on-premises data that might be in like SQL Server analysis services, I mentioned SQL Server integration services earlier. These are all tools that are used to extract the data and then possibly build custom cubes based on the dimensions that you're interested in. These are hooked up to Power BI. And then, of course, there's a set of cloud data sources as well that you can connect to in Power BI. There's also non-Microsoft clouds, right, like Salesforce and some of these organizations. We know that our customers are trying to connect to all of this data. That's why we don't restrict them to just Microsoft services. You can connect to a lot of these other services as well. And then use the business analyst tools like Excel and Power BI Desktop to build these reports. And then when you publish them, they're then consumed by the end users through things like the web browser or through these mobile apps. So this just kind of takes you through the journey of having that data in your data source or your service, connecting it to Power BI, building these tools, and then consuming it as an end user. So now we'll talk a little bit about the Power BI structure and how you build on these different building blocks.
I'm going to try to explain that. And Power BI actually, the idea is to provide you a more flexible way in how you can reuse some of the components. So I'm going to try to explain for my colleague Mike here. So how Power BI works with dashboards, reports, and data sets and data sources. I can have one dashboard that works with many reports, or one dashboard that works with many data sets, or I can have one report with one dashboard, one report, one dashboard.
Okay.
It's a little bit confusing, right?
Yeah, especially because I'm not an engineer. I'm a program manager. I used to be an engineer in a previous life. So just like simplify it a little bit.
Okay, let's make a big draw of this. So I have one dashboard that works with many reports, that works with one data set, with two data sources and three data sources. Is it more clear now for you, or is it too difficult?
A little bit, but like the one-to-many, it's just...
Forget about this. Let's bring this to real world. So what we're going to have, you are a CFO, and you are unhappy, Mike. Why you are unhappy?
Well, I want a pretty simple report that gives me the status of my data that's in Salesforce. Right?
That's pretty cool. So you have a not happy CFO that would like to have data from Salesforce. That Salesforce is your data source. How can we actually bring this data directly to the CFO? We create a data set that actually can be built in Excel or Power BI desktop. This data set will generate a report. This report I can pick some components from this report and provide to the CFO. Are you happy now?
Okay, it's starting to make sense. Okay.
You are a CIO now. You are not happy. Why you are not happy, Mike?
Well, my CFO just got all of his data. So where's my data?
And you would like to have a little bit of his financial information, but not all,
right.
Correct? So we're going to build a dashboard just for the CIO using few components for the financial report. You happy now?
We're using it. Yes. Okay.
Why you are not happy again, Mike? Tell me.
Well, I have projects. Where's my project data?
Yes, oh my God. What we need to do, project is a different data source. And this different data source, I can use actually the same way and build the data set, but now I'm creating a different report for projects and taking few components from the projects and providing to you. And so on. And we go for the PMO with the PMO dashboard, taking few components here, SharePoint data, we do the same. Everybody's happy. Yeah, this is really cool.
Woo. Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
For simplifying that for us.
Is you know?
Yes. All right.
Okay. So data sources, again, I think it's important to say that how flexible and extensible Power BI is, and can I use this in my company right now? There are a lot of data sources that are already supported by Power BI. I'm not going for all of them. I'm just highlighting the most important ones for you. And they are SharePoint lists, OData feed. OData is an open protocol. Actually, many companies are creating their own OData to expose their data in a safe way. So we have project online information, SAP HANA, Excel files, a bunch of data sources, so you can actually go further with all this information and collect. What is really important, all the security, all the traffic data that is going between your data source and Power BI, it's encrypted with HTTPS. So we are safe, your traffic is safe, you are not in risk of someone getting this data out of you. There are a lot of services today that you can use with out-of-the-box content packs. And you can see most of these names, I'm pretty sure you already know, Google Analytics, and we have here Office 365, and there are a lot of companies are building new content packs every day. And we are going now.
And one of those companies that's building a new content pack is Microsoft.
Woohoo!
We recently announced that there is a Project Online content pack for Power BI made available that connects directly to Project Online. So this is great because it has a set of pre-configured data sets, some reports in there, and then a dashboard available right out of the box. And when you install this content pack, it's connected directly to Project Online, so it's super easy to get going. So let's take a look at this content pack, and I'll walk you through it a little bit. So if I come out to my Project Online homepage, here there's a brand new tile right here in the middle called Analyze Your Data with Power BI. So if I click this, it actually takes me out to powerbi.com. And here I'm logged in as the same user that was just using Project Online. And here it's linked directly to the content pack in Power BI. So here I just click Get, and then I install this onto my Project Online tenant. But there's actually another way to find this content pack as well. Power BI has a pretty deep integration to Office 365 groups, like a lot of new services nowadays. And if I navigate out here and collapse my, my workspace, you actually see your list of Office 365 groups. So here I'm going to click my MS Ignite group, which is empty. It doesn't have anything installed. And now if I click underneath Services and select Get, it actually takes me to this experience where I can browse all of the different content packs that are available. So here I have content packs for Azure, for Bing, for GitHub, Google Analytics. And if I scroll down, here's that same Project Online content pack that we just saw. So I can install this into my group in Power BI, and then I can start using it with any of the data that's connected to my group. Pretty cool? Yep. All right. So, oh, thank you.
How easy it is to install that?
Yeah, it's one click. You just drop it in. I've already got it installed. We'll take a look over here. So let me expand this, and oh wait, let's see. Hold on. Let me go back to my workspace. Okay, great. So I've already got an instance of the content pack installed. Let me select the data set, and I'll show you that right here. Like I said, it's already connected to Project Online. So that same set of entities that we saw in Excel earlier that we were working with and that we used when we built the various apps are available right here in Power BI. So if I expand like risks, you can see this is the full list of fields that we've exposed in the Project Online content pack. And there's a few kind of fancy ones. So down here, I'll just zoom in real quick just to show you. I've actually got like total active risks, total postponed risks. So in the data connection, we actually have calculated fields. So these are fields that normally you'd have to pull into Excel and then start typing a formula to sum up your total active risks and issues. We've actually included that for you.
I have a question. Is this going to work on any Project Online environment?
It will work on any Project Online environment.
Wow,
yeah.
That's really nice.
Woo.
Woo.
And better yet, it's free. So if I continue one step further, we actually consume these data sets in a set of reports that are available. So here I've got an issues report. We have just a couple of issues in here. I have a risk report. And what's really cool is that we actually have the list of issues that link directly to Project Online. So if I'm looking at this report and I'm triaging my issues and risks, and I say, oh, this isn't assigned to anyone, I can click that, takes me to Project Online, I edit it, close it out, and then I'm right back in my report. Pretty cool? You like that? What do you say, Peter? All right, awesome, great. We're just getting started with the content pack. So a couple more reports. I've got a portfolio status report, which has a nice burn down showing me my baseline, remaining, and cumulative work. A nice column chart down here that breaks out all of my different projects. And then I've got a little table that shows me my overdue and upcoming milestones. And then I have a compliance report that'll actually show me a list of projects that have uncompleted work in the past. This was a pretty common request. Customers wanted some type of report that showed them active projects that have not been updated within the last month and projects that have uncompleted work in the past. So these are obviously out of date, and somebody needs to update them. So lastly, I'll show in this content pack, we actually shipped a dashboard that has a couple of these visualizations pinned out of the box. So these are right here on the dashboard for my users. They can scroll down, and you can see here we pulled in like some of the most important charts for them to use. How does that rate on the pedometer?
Woohoo!
Cool? Got a
really
dashboard?
Nice.
All right, so we'll take it one step further because, Alan, like your company has a bunch of custom fields that they probably use in Project Online,
yes,
right?
And this is actually, I need to extend and have my own way to deploy this content packs.
Right. So with these content packs, we actually uploaded this to GitHub, okay? So this is available for you to download and customize. The content pack that we ship that you install, it doesn't include any of the custom fields that you might have added to your Project Online instance. However, we know everybody uses custom fields, right? Because they flag things for department. I don't know, you're building cars, you have color, you have all these great things in there. So you can download this content pack, the PBIX file, from GitHub. I have the link in the presentation, and you can customize it to add in those custom fields to your data connection, and then you can consume that in Power BI. Pretty cool?
Yeah.
Woo! Woohoo! All right, so Alan, I know your company uses a lot of custom content packs, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm going to show right now and how we can actually explore and take all the advantages of these content packs, the organizational content packs now. So if I go back here, and now we are going for organizational content pack. If I go back to my Power BI, look at this. I'm going to go back to that user that is, I have a blank workspace here. So I have no data at all. I just got hired in this company. It's my first day, and I know that I need to take some analysis in regards of my projects, some analysis about my resources, but I have no idea how to get this data. That's why Microsoft provides you a way to explore and provide organizational content packs. So instead of going, let me go back here. Instead of going to services, I'm going to my organization. Pretty intuitive, right? When I go here, I actually have my own created Microsoft Ignite 2016 content pack. How easy it is for me to start using this. I can just click on that. I have some description. I could have some screenshots, and I click Get. What is happening right now is, look at this. Automatically, I got a dashboard being deployed for me with all the data from my server. I have a dashboard for portfolio. I have another dashboard for resource information, and all this with only one click. Without doing anything, you just click one button, and you have all this data directly for you to use. How this rank in the pedometer? Yeah, that was a cool one. Really nice, right? So let's go back here. And after the organizational content packs, okay, what happened if my user, he cannot see a specific chart here, and he would like to actually get more information about this data, but the charts that is available for him, it's not provided what he's looking for. So that's why Microsoft has an engine, oops, if I go back here, that is allowing you to ask natural language questions. That means I can just ask whatever I want based on my data, and automatically this will be pulled out and generate a report just in front of you in your browser. Sounds like a lie, but actually it works like that. So if I go back here and I go to my portfolio overview, and okay, I would like to ask how many projects I have by department. So I say, count of projects by department. Look at this.
Wow.
Automatically being generated by you. And this is really, really nice. But what happens if I say count of projects by country? Not that exciting, but now if I say as a map, it should become exciting. Oh, there we go. Whoa,
Woo,
automatically generating. You can actually define the type of chart you would like to show at the moment. So if I actually add here department, look what is going to happen. Actually, let me go back. Automatically, I'm going to show you, and Microsoft Power BI will understand your questions and generate and add this data to your chart. And you can actually pin this to your dashboards or create your own dashboards, but this is being generated just by asking some questions. Let's go one more time just to make sure that this was not prepared. So let's see if I show, actually, I would like to see what are the resources with most availability. Are we having questions later, right? Mm-hmm. Yep, we are going to have Q&A afterwards. I would like to see what are the most available resources in my company. So what I'm going to show is show resource with most. By the way, pay attention that Power BI is IntelliSense auto-completing the information for me with most availability in current month. Oh my God. And now you see all the resources with most availability in the current month. Oh, come. Peter, how is this ranking? Woohoo! This is really, really nice. How we can make this even better? One more. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to say show projects, sum of total cost, and look how Power BI is building this for me. I would like to now see benefits. Whoa, really cool. Now departments and return of investment. Really nice and automatically generate. And look at this. If you actually would like to extend and make even more to your way to analyze your data, you can even explore the visualization in fields. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the date, find a week, and place in my play axis and actually play this data. live without requesting IT to build anything, and I can see all this data in my Power BI dashboard. Really, really nice, right?
Nice.
Woo! Woo! Really nice. So now, if we go back to our presentation, Power BI Q&A has been already demoed. Next one. What happened if you don't want to go to your Power BI? You're actually walking with your mobile phone and just working your desktop. Who here in the audience know what is Cortana? Everyone, correct? So everyone is your personal assistant. Would like to explore Cortana? Should we go directly for the demo?
Yeah, Cortana is my personal assistant. I mean, she should be able to help me out, right?
Yes. So the point is, Power BI has an integration with Cortana that allow you to actually ask questions directly from, let me open this, directly from your desktop and automatically get this data. So what I'm going to do now is I'm opening Cortana and asking, show resource demand at Proactive. Could be your company. And then automatically Cortana is bringing data from Power BI and showing in my desktop without leaving my computer. And they are interactive. Look at this. You can even click on the charts and see what is going on each one of the departments and everything. So all this, and what happens if I ask a different question? Show Proactive portfolio by region, and I would like to only see in Europe. So Cortana understands your queries and automatically add the filters to your data. So you can build only one report that can support your entire organization. Now I'm looking at my portfolio only for Europe. And let's do two more tests. So show performance for a specific resource. And this will actually filter by that resource and automatically bring the data for that specific resource. I have one more, and we will go for applause. So basically, I would like to show is like, because a lot of people say, yeah, Lara, you already prepared this only for your account. But no, if I show for Alan Rocha, now it's going to show the data for Alan Rocha, but look what I'm going to do now. I will actually, by Alan Rocha, I will just change the name of the resource and type in one of my colleagues. And Cortana will understand this and automatically make a filter, and by the way, I asked permission to my colleague to show this, and all the information for his timesheet, how much billable hours, and everything. Woohoo!
How does
Cortana
that rate on the
integration!
Peterometer? Off the charts? I don't know. Yeah, that's great. And we only recorded that so Alan could be a little more dynamic with his hands.
Okay, hand it over. Thank
Great.
you.
All right. So just to recap, what did we see today? Hopefully today's session got you your money's worth for staying for Friday. Today we walked through how to connect to projects online using Excel and a set of different tools, how to use Power Query, gave an overview of resource engagements, a very specific project online scenario. We showed you the new SharePoint apps available for free that you can use on your tenant. We walked through Power Apps, actually built an app for the first time on stage in a project online session. Pretty amazing.
Really nice.
And then we spent a good deal of time talking about Power BI and the different technologies available and how to connect and extract that data. I have a slide here. Of course, it has a link to the Microsoft Ignite site and the Microsoft BI, the site that the Microsoft BI team uses, as well as powerbi.microsoft.com. So feel free to check that out. Definitely take a look at Alan's blog. He has a ton of interesting content out there. He's very active in the community. Alan is one of our project MVPs, so he has a lot of detailed information. And then, of course, we have a project team blog as well, where we recently rolled out a blog post about the new Time Reporter app on iOS for submitting time, and some of those other data entry scenarios. And we have other blog posts from previous months around the Power BI content pack and things like that. Of course, you can always keep an eye on the Microsoft Excel team's blog as well, because there's a lot of enhancements that are rolling out there around Power Query and how to connect to data. And what's great is that at Microsoft, they are actually in the same building, now on the same floor as the project team. So it's very easy for us to collaborate with Microsoft Excel. And naturally, as new enhancements roll out in Excel and in some of these other tools, Product Online can take advantage of them. So we get really excited when things like Power Query move deeper into the product and some of the new visualizations show up. A lot of times, Project Online is actually one of the key test scenarios because we have this authenticated feed, right, in Office 365. So a lot of other feeds, might be unauthenticated. You stream, financial data from NASDAQ. It's available for anybody. But across Office, when we have these scenarios around, only, particular users need to have access to this data, Project Online is a great test case. So keep an eye on the Excel team's blog. And then I've got a link here to the content pack we showed earlier that's on GitHub. All right, so Microsoft actually has quite a bit of content on GitHub, and so that's where we publish that. We've kind of moved past some of those days of just providing things in TechNet where you have to dig around for it. It's right there in GitHub with a lot of the other information that we provide as well. Great. So I also have one slide here that has a list of some of the related project sessions. Since this is the last day of the conference, the first couple of sessions have already happened, but the recordings are still available. So feel free to check out the Microsoft PPM overview session from Tuesday, where we actually showed and discussed a lot of the enhancements and kind of the forward thinking around Microsoft Project. We talk about quite a few different enhancements there that we have planned in the upcoming year. And then we have a deployment session that happened, customer showcase yesterday. And then after this session, there's actually 2 project sessions scheduled. So if you can find out how to be in 2 places at one time, you could attend those. And they're focused on managing projects in the cloud and then satisfying custom needs, which is a more like programmability session around the API. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of those. Thank you for attending. Let me flip over to the other machine really quick and just jump to the last 2 slides here. We have a link to fasttrack.microsoft. Has anyone heard of Fast Track? You guys? OK, great. So some people are. This is how to jump in and get on board with Office 365 pretty quickly. So check out fasttrack.microsoft.com. We have also the new tech community, which was launched just in the past month. So I help moderate that. So I'll be answering questions in there and listening to feedback about Microsoft Project and Microsoft Planner. The tech community, it replaces some of the other like external Yammer groups that we had. Oh, great, Fast Track Sunglasses. He's all in. Peter, you're the man. So the tech community helps replace some of the external Yammer groups we had where we could collaborate with external customers and partners. So go to the tech community now. And if you like this session, please fill out your evaluation. We read all of the comments and feedback. If you didn't like the session, don't worry about the survey. And for Peter, it's actually quite appropriate. Since you are such a fan of sunglasses, I actually have for you, I love Power BI sunglasses.
Yeah.
OK, and this nice padded tablet case that you can use, and it has a component bag on the back. So thank you so much for being our volunteer.
Thank you. Thank you all for this session. Thank you today.
Great. Thanks, everyone. And that's the conclusion of the session. We'll stick around for a few minutes for questions.
Yeah. Thank you.